Hello there. Today is the 1-year mark of the first recorded case of COVID-19 that began in Wuhan, China. In this video, I will show you what the day-to-day life in Wuhan looks like today, and a little bit about my connection to Wuhan and some of the things that I like about this amazing city. So I first moved to Wuhan 10 years ago to start a new career as an ESL teacher. And throughout the years, I have seen the city evolve from an unknown rundown urban environment with only a handful of foreigners to the bustling modern city that it is known for today, that welcomes thousands of new international students and teachers each year. If you have seen any of my previous videos about Wuhan, then you know that I was here at the beginning of their lockdown at the end of January, before being evacuated to the UK. Obviously, at the time, I never thought that the virus would spread as much as it did, but at the end of September, my family and I decided to return to Wuhan. The guidelines to getting back into China were very strict. Not all visas were accepted, so I had to make multiple trips to London to sort out my visa, and I had to obtain a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of my flight, which was quite difficult as it was becoming harder and harder to get tests in the UK, especially one that could guarantee the results in such a short time frame. We had to spend 2 weeks in quarantine in the city which we arrived in before continuing our journey to Wuhan. I feel lucky that we came back when we did, as China has now blocked any non-national residents from entering the country. When I finally arrived in Wuhan, it did take me a few days to readjust back to my usual schedule, but overall, the day-to-day life in Wuhan is pretty much back to normal. All shops, restaurants, parks, pretty much everything is all open. The only difference is that to travel on public transport or to visit any of the tourist attractions, you need to download a special app and maintain a green code to be able to enter. This is so they can track where you've been and if you've been in contact or come close to someone that has the virus. If you have, then your code may turn to amber or red, at which point you will need to self-quarantine. It's an effective method to stopping the spread as quickly as possible. Another thing that I've noticed is everyone is wearing masks, whether that be indoors or out. This isn't mandatory, people just feel safer while wearing a mask, and it's something that I'm happy to go along with. In the school that I work at, all the students and staff have to be thermal scanned daily to check if they have a high temperature. If they do, they will be asked to leave and they will have to submit a negative COVID-19 test to be able to re-enter the school. Again, all students and staff continue to wear masks in the classroom and during break times. As I mentioned before, to travel on public transport you need a green code. Security will also check your temperature as you enter the station, usually just on your wrist. This is one of the only places where you have to wear a mask at all times, as it can get pretty crowded during rush hour. Taxis are pretty much the same, as it is mandatory for the drivers and passengers to wear masks. Obviously, as Wuhan was where the coronavirus first started, and as the city began to reopen, many people were hesitant to come and visit Wuhan and the Hubei Province. To boost tourism in the area, the local government have been issuing free tickets for zoos, aquariums, theme parks, and other nearby tourist attractions to try to entice the locals and people from outside Hubei to come and visit the city. You can check out my previous video on Wuhan's Happy Valley, where I explore the local theme park and explain how you can get these free tickets. I believe the people of Wuhan feel more connected than ever before after their long battle over the last year. Talking with friends and co-workers about their 2.5-month lockdown at the beginning of the year, they all said the hardest part was trying to beat the boredom. Many started new hobbies or created exercise regimes, as at the time they didn't know how long they would have to keep tight. And it shows, as with only a handful of cases in the last few months, their hard work and dedication has paid off. Even today, as everyone continues to wear masks, the people of Wuhan have accepted that this is just part of everyday life and are happier for it. No one is causing a scene or making a song and dance about it, and they can just get on with it. As someone who's called Wuhan his home for the last 10 years, I couldn't be prouder of all the people in Wuhan, and I think this video of the residents shouting encouragement to each other during the lockdown perfectly sums up the fighting spirit of the people of Wuhan. To end this video, I just wanted to share a few things about why I love Wuhan. One of the biggest parts of Chinese culture is of course the food, and Wuhan is famous for its spicy cuisine. My favorite dish is the traditional breakfast hot dry noodles. This is a mixture of fresh noodles, sesame paste and pickled carrot. Just this one dish is worthy of a trip to Wuhan. You can check out this great video by the Food Ranger when he visited Wuhan a few years ago to see some more local delicacies. So Wuhan is actually 3 cities broken up by 2 rivers meeting, and each city has its own character. They are Wuchang, where many of the universities are based, so there is a high population of students, Hankou, where many of the big businesses and expensive hotels are, and Hanyang, which is mainly residential. Although the city as a whole is modernizing rapidly, there are still places throughout Wuhan that feels like old China. But I'm afraid that these areas will eventually be replaced with yet more high-rise apartment complexes. The cost of living is incredibly cheap compared to other cities in China. You are still able to rent a nice 2-bedroom apartment for under $400, and the hot dry noodles that I mentioned before is less than $1, so eating out is cheap too. The local government has also increased spending on green spaces, so there are plenty of parks dotted around the city. Walking along the riverside at night can be spectacular, with a special light show that comprises all of the buildings on both sides of the river. And best of all, East Lake, which is one of the biggest inner city lakes in the world. Over the last few years, they have completed a 100-kilometer greenway, which is a walking and cycling path around East Lake that has many trees planted on the lakeside and also connects islands, lakeside parks, and small ponds. If you have the chance to come and visit Wuhan in the future, I hope you can come and see and enjoy the city that I call home. And if you have any questions about Wuhan, then just leave it in a comment below. Wuhan really shows us that there is a way to control COVID-19, so I can only ask that you follow their example by always wearing a mask outside your home, wash your hands regularly, and to maintain social distance at all times. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.